Happy late summer harvest season from Bachelor, Maine. This is Margaret Byrd and welcome to Color Quest. I am here at a working farm known as Junction Garden, and the owner, Eileen is going to be working with me as a co-host and co-teacher in our Harvesting Hues 3-day workshop. The video of that workshop will be next week, so keep an eye out for that so you can see all of the fun that you missed. But in the meantime, I thought it would be fantastic for us to walk through her natural dye garden so that maybe you will be inspired to either join us next year when we do Harvesting Hues again, or think about how you might welcome natural color into your dye garden, even if it's in pot form on a porch, and allow yourself some natural color fun in your own dye studio. So let's go poke around the dye garden and see what we find. So walking around all of these incredibly colorful dye flowers reminds me of my good friends Max and Amy of the Color Farm. And although they're no longer growing dye flowers, I have some very fond memories of spending time with them in their dye gardens, as well as working with the beautiful plants that they were growing. Eileen is doing the same here. So let's take a look at the garden and the specific flowers she's chosen to have in her dye garden this season. No garden would be complete without the incredible Sulfur cosmos. It creates a beautiful flower and a vivid orange dye. It is very prolific and would create beautiful color just to have in your dye garden before you pluck these beautiful flowers to make some incredible vibrancy in your dye pot. And Dyer's coreopsis is also one incredible dye flower. Not only is it vibrant in creating an orange dye pot, it is pH sensitive, and it is an incredible printing flower as well. It's easy to grow, it is also wildly abundant, and so it is a fantastic option in any dyer's garden. Hello Marigold, look at these. Marigold is another really fantastic dye flower. These yellow and orange blossoms will give you orange in the dye pot, or if you separate them out, you can experience some really gorgeous yellows as well. They're also pH sensitive, so you can push that warm toned color palette both up and down on the pH spectrum to get some more vibrant yellow and lighter orange hues. Rudbekia, or black-eyed Susan, is one of the interesting dye plants that you can get different colors from the different parts of the plant. I have a video where we looked at black-eyed Susan and we were able to find a different color from the middle parts of the flower, the petals, as well as the leaves and stems. It's fun to have this beautiful flower in your garden and then play around with it in your dye studio. It can make some very interesting botanical prints as well, so why not give that one a try? Sunflowers. They can produce a color in the dye pot when you work with their seeds. There is a native sunflower known as Hopi, and when using the seeds of that particular sunflower, you can get the most glorious grays and purples. I have a video about that. But play around with their leaves and see, maybe they'll be printers, maybe not. But regardless, they are so much fun to have in your garden. Now we're walking into a bigger portion of her dye garden, and here you are going to find Weld. Weld creates this incredible yellow, very light, fast, water fast, and you can use Weld, the whole plant, the flower, the stems and the leaves, and let me tell you, the yellow that you get is so vibrant. She is also growing madder root. This takes several years to grow to maturity to where you can harvest the roots themselves to get oranges and reds in your dye pot. We have then one of our favorites. This is fresh leaf indigo. This indigo is in the process of going to seed, but we still can use these beautiful leaves to crush and mash into the most glorious light blues and greens. You can also use it for printing. These leaves pound out beautifully. It grows well in all kinds of climates. Super fun to use in a quick and easy process at home. Fresh leaf indigo, one of my favorites. Hello Dyer's chamomile. Also a great flower, produces really pretty yellows. I've had a few videos here, and what can be prettier than a daisy looking flower in your dye garden to bring bright yellow into your dye pot. And this may be one of my favorites, not gonna lie. Black Knight scabiosa, absolutely love it. It can give you purples in a botanical print, but it also can bring around the most fantastic blue-green in your dye pot, especially with things like silk and wool. Black Knight scabiosa. And finally, Bachelor's button. I have been wanting to work with Bachelor's button for a long time. It's just not something I have had access to. But similar to the Black Knight scabiosa, you can make some really pretty prints with this flower that's so delicate. It's a fun one to try, and I'm kind of excited that I got to see it in the garden as well as in the dye studio when we were at Harvesting Hues. Hi Eileen.
Hi Margaret.
Thank you so much for inviting me to come out to your beautiful farm and give myself a chance to poke around your dye garden before we teach Harvesting Hues, which I'm very excited to do. And I thought it would be fun to understand why you decided to expand your vegetable growing with dye flowers.
Sure. And we're really glad that you're here. I'm really excited about the workshop. So I'm so happy that you're here. We're vegetable farmers, right? My husband and I have been growing mixed vegetables for a number of years here, and I like color. And one of my sisters is a fiber artist, my sister Patricia, and she and I would be talking about colors and plants, and we got thinking about dye plants. So at first I just added a couple little things. Actually, maybe indigo was even one of the first plants I grew, but I didn't really know what to do with it. And so she and I would just experiment, and the more we experimented with trying to make something out of our indigo, whether it was precipitating the blue and then trying to create a vat, or even just trying things with marigolds because they were easy to grow. I was always growing a lot of them. I grew them also as a companion plant to my tomatoes, so I had a lot of them around.
Okay. Are they like bug resistant?
Correct. They're a good companion plant because they kind of deter certain kinds of bugs that bother tomatoes, and they're pretty looking also.
Very colorful.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how we started, and I feel like the longer I've been growing dye plants and playing around with learning to dye, certainly taking classes with you and watching all your YouTube videos, we've learned a lot, and through that have wanted to do more and more. So I now, at the farmers market, we sell at 3 farmers market here in central Maine every week. And I am bringing more natural dye stuffs there, as well as products that, let's say, botanically printed scarves or...
things that you're making yourself.
Correct,
Oh,
correct.
lovely.
Things that we're dyeing using our own plants.
And you have sheep, so
Yes.
are you also using your wool and then selling that either in the natural state or also dyed?
Both, yes. So we have 2 Icelandic sheep and then a Finn sheep that we've bred with the Romney, so we have some Finn Romney mixes, beautifully soft yarn. We have a local mill, Morit Hill in Troy, Maine, process for us, and we've been dyeing that. I've been selling it at market. That's been a lot of fun. I love having conversations with people at market about color, about why local color is good environmentally, like thinking about slow fashion, thinking about how toxic a lot of our clothing is, and like the little steps we can all take to try to localize a little of that and not be like kind of have a better footprint in the world, if you will. So that's kind of how we've kind of gone on this journey, and this Harvesting Hues is our first foray into hosting a workshop, but I definitely feel like next year we want to try to do more, maybe some shorter little workshops, very targeted on specific topics around growing as well as dyeing with color. And we also do a fair business in seedlings, small plants in the beginning of the growing season, so like May.
And you sold out of those, didn't you?
I did.
It was very, very popular crop, if you will, for you to be selling. And what's so interesting to me is maybe people don't understand that Maine actually has a pretty diverse and dynamic growing, let's say, farmland.
Yeah.
Even though the season might be short, but to be able to have as many different dye plants that you've grown here, and then you can dry them.
Yes.
And so even if you are not growing anything in the wintertime, you've got all your stashed away beauties.
Right,
so.
like in my studio I have, you know, marigolds strung up on thread all over, and I press a lot of the cosmos and coreopsis.
You sell some of those pressed flowers as well too, which are great for botanical printing. And you're thinking maybe about making kits in the future? So
that is,
trying to get more people involved in natural dyeing.
Right, and I think something like a kit helps people, it makes it easier, right? Less steps involved. If there are the pieces and as well as the instruction, then you can try a little thing on your own, at your own house, just to get your feet wet and see if you like it.
Well, I am super excited, first of all, that we met in Baja at Cooking Color, but also that we took that shared interest in this, and you invited me to your home here in this beautiful property with your lovely family, your lovely pets and animals, and all of your gorgeous, gorgeous natural dye plants. So thank you, Eileen, and I can't wait for Harvesting Hues.
Yes, fantastic.
I can't wait to harvest and work with her next week when we invite people into the Harvesting Hues course, where they will come and work on this farm. We'll be harvesting flowers from the dye garden, as well as looking at some botanical printing with leaves coming from some of these trees in the area, and doing all sorts of play in the dye garden for 3 beautiful days together. So I'm very excited, and I'm excited to share that with you. So come back next week when we will look at the highlights of that class and maybe get you inspired to join us at a natural dye class sometime in the future. When you go into a dye garden like this, you can't help but get inspired and excited to start working more and more and experimenting with natural color. Have a great week, and I can't wait to see you next time on Color Quest.